Deadpool and Wolverine featured a lot of cameos from other characters. There was even supposed to be a scene with Tony Stark that was written into the story, but it was later removed. The information about this is from an article on the IndieWire website, and the answers are from Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, who were credited as writers for the movie. There was going to be a scene with Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, alongside Robert Downey Jr. Here's what they said. We had wanted him to do a cameo. We had written that scene to start with Happy and Downey. Ryan Reynolds wrote the scene with both of them, so in the hopes we could get Downey. But he also wanted Favreau, because they're a great combo, and they were all in the scene together. Behind the scenes, we didn't know about the Doctor Doom, and there's no way he was going to do both. And then we said, oh, Downey doesn't say no to Ryan Reynolds, does he? No one says no to Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan gave him the hard press. We wrote scenes, and Downey read the scenes, but what we didn't know behind the scenes was this Doctor Doom thing. The part where Tony Stark would appear in the movie was going to be a small scene. It would be alongside Happy Hogan, but since Robert Downey Jr. had another role at the time, it was filmed with Happy Hogan and Wade instead. It was a version of what you saw in the sense that he rejected Wade. He just said he wasn't a team player or whatever and questioned his team player abilities. So it was actually pretty close to the scene that you saw. It just had two guys instead of one. And then Jon Favreau was graciously connected to it from the start. It worked out great. I mean, look, we would have loved to have Downey, but at the same time, I think Marvel had this ace in their hole, which is he's about to come back in this different character. So to have him be Tony Stark, knowing that Doctor Doom was coming on the heels of that, it just didn't make sense. We haven't told anybody this, but there was a version of that scene very, very early on that wasn't written, but was conceived, that had all the Avengers in the room, and Wade was rejected, and then he dressed all the Avengers down in a way only Deadpool could do. That's a little bit of a scoop, but he was going to get mad and basically attack each one of them in a vicious kind of way. There's even a part where they talk about Chris Evans as the Human Torch, where he could have shown up in Deadpool 2, but it didn't happen. When I interviewed you for Deadpool 2, you told me you wanted Chris Evans as the Human Torch for that movie, but it didn't happen. Now you've done it. Oh my god, I have no memory of that at all. Do you? That's amazing. No, that would have been awesome. There was some discussion about any post-credit scenes that didn't make it into the movie, and Paul said there were different codas kicked around. There were more X-Force interviews that were talked about. One was Chris Evans as Human Torch, and the other was Deadpool killing baby Hitler. The scene with Johnny Storm was already planned before Deadpool and Wolverine. They wanted to have a scene where people would think it's Captain America, but later it turns out to be Johnny Storm. Yeah, I mean, there's that one moment where Captain America, or well, who you think is Captain America, is actually Johnny Storm. I think he drops an F-bomb, he swears, and Deadpool kind of clocks it for a second. He looks at him like, what? It's the first clue that it might not be the square-jawed Captain America that we're used to. It could have been a different Captain America, or in this case, it turned out to be Johnny Storm. But that was the first clue that maybe it's not the sacred timeline Cap, whom we've grown to know and love. They did ask a lot of actors if they could show up for cameo roles, and the only one that said no was Robert Downey Jr. Exactly. He's got his pager on his belt, so he reaches out to these folks, and it's been the rare no. I mean, Downey was the only no we've ever gotten. I think in terms of people just saying, hey, I don't want to do it. They also thought about putting Cable in this movie to give him a proper ending, as a way to pay tribute to that character. But since he only appeared in Deadpool 2, there was still time to have him appear in other movies, so the idea didn't happen. There's also an article from August 5th on the same website that talks about the plans to bring back Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider to appear in Deadpool and Wolverine, but it also didn't happen. Reynolds told Collider that Cage returning as Ghost Rider was among his dream list of cameos for the multiverse film. When asked if Cage was among those he reached out to star, Reynolds said yes, and added, "Came to a conversation for sure. Yeah, but no." So that's it for this video. If you saw the movie Deadpool and Wolverine, tell me in the comment section what your favorite scenes are. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.